Hey, what is going on, everybody? Jerma here with the Team Fortress 2 Smissmas 2012 update. Now, this is not going to cover any of the man versus machine stuff. Just want to talk about the new items, the new weapons that get put into play in Team Fortress 2 with this update. And they are going to start as follows. I'm going to go through 3 of them. It was only 3. I know a lot of us are kind of like, oh, what the hell, man? I wanted like 10 new items. But these items are pretty substantial. These are not just reskins of a weapon or just one little stat that was added to, like, you know, a shovel or something like that. These are very substantial, very interesting items in their own. It's going to take a while to explain at least one of them, which is the first one we're going to talk about, and that is the Vaccinator. So, without confusing you guys, the text on the screen right now is probably going to be pretty confusing. Now, let me, without reading a ton of the text and trying to, you know, read you the stats and all that, let me just say what this thing does. This is a specific Uber charging medigun. What that means is that it's going to protect people from specific types of damage. So me healing this heavy right now, just without the Uber, me and him take 10% less bullet damage. That's stuff like the Scout Scattergun. That's the minigun. Stuff that is actually classified as a bullet, we take 10% less of. Now, I can change that. I can change it from bullet damage to blast damage or fire damage. With the number 4, I believe it defaults to number 4 is how you switch this. So let's say I hit number 4 right now, I'm going to switch over to blast damage. If I hit 4 again, I'm going to switch over to fire damage. 10%, it never changes from 10%. We both just take 10% less damage. Now, let's talk about the Uber charge. This is where it gets a little bit crazy and a little bit weird. If you look in the lower right, there are 4 squares there, 4 different quadrants. Each one of those is a 2-second Uber. You don't have to use the whole Uber. We've been waiting for something like this for a long time. I remember people talking about in the comments, like a year ago on one of my Medigun videos, talking about how cool it would be to have an Uber that you could use halfway through. Like, oh, I filled my Uber up to 20%. I can use 20% of that Uber. They put that in the game now. It's actually a thing. So regardless of how many quadrants you have filled, you can either use one of them, 2 of them, or all of them. You can use all 4 by holding down the right click, or you can just right-click one time and just suck down one of those quadrants. So here is what the Uber charge actually does. When you Uber charge, you probably have seen it already on the screen. It's going to put somebody in a little bubble. It's not invincibility. It is not invincibility. What happens is, whatever you have selected, whether that's bullet damage, fire damage, or blast damage, you and that person are going to take 75%, not 10%, 75% less damage of that damage type until you're done Ubering them, or you change to a different target. Also, on top of this, while you are Uber charging somebody, whatever you have selected for the resistance, let's say you have the bullet damage selected. If your target is taking bullet damage, you get healed for 25% of that incoming bullet damage while they are Uber charged. And talking about just pure stats, this thing has a 50% faster Uber charge rate, which means you'll be getting charges more often, but, and this is a pretty big deal because it's not the quick fix. This is not the quick fix. It can do overhealing, but it overheals 66% slower. There's a lot going on with this gun. There's a lot going on with this medigun, and hopefully I could break it down a little bit for you there. And go play with it, go have fun with it, guys. This thing is crazy. But now let's move on to the next thing. Let's move on to the Demo Man's new grenade launcher, the loose cannon. So this thing is a primary slot replacement, and I guess I can describe this in one way. It's the baby of 2 items that are already in this game. If you know the Detonator from the Pyro and the Beggars Bazooka from the Soldier, they got together and had a kid. It's this. This is the Beggars Bazooka Detonator, if that makes any sense at all. Let me try to explain. So the thing shoots cannonballs, first off the bat, let's just say that. That's awesome. And they roll around. Now, if a cannonball hits the ground, it's going to do 50% less damage than if it was not on the ground. So anytime you hit a surface or you hit the ground, it's going to do a lot less damage. But if you hit somebody with the cannonball, it can go through people. You can actually hit people with the cannonball, and it'll go through a line of people. It also knocks people around, and you can detonate this thing in the air. That's when I talked about the Detonator and the Beggars Bazooka. Because you hold the button down, and on the lower right, you're going to see a bar. When that bar gets to be about 50 or 30% of the way, you let go, the thing's going to detonate somewhere in the air, depending how long you held it down for. Now, it can blow up in your face. That's where the Beggars Bazooka comes in. If you hold it down too long, it's just going to blow up in your face and you're going to take damage. But it's very, very fun to try and knock people around with this thing. And shoot this into a hallway with a bunch of people, you're going to knock it into so many people because the cannonball does damage. So I don't know right now how this weapon is going to, be on the list of are these things worth equipping. But it's pretty fun. I will tell you right now, it's very, very fun just to play around with. So let's move on to the third and last weapon of this update, and it is the Rescue Ranger. Probably my favorite one so far because it answers the prayers of a lot of big Sentry Engineer users, and that is, I wish I could move away from my sentry nest and not have to worry about everything exploding and all my work being thrown down the toilet. What this thing does, it's a ranged sentry healer. Not only is it a projectile shotgun, but it's a ranged sentry healer. It's going to heal your sentry from any range. You could be 5,000 feet down the road or right next to it. You shoot it with the shotgun a couple times, bada bing, bada boom, your sentry is healed. Now, it's very, very, very important to say this. This is not going to replenish ammo into your sentry or rockets, and this will not remove sappers. That's a big deal. So this thing cannot remove sappers or replace ammo into your gun. It can only heal the sentry. So, is this thing worth putting on? I'm going to say absolutely yes, because I didn't even talk about the second and probably the best feature of this item. This allows you to pick up your sentry gun from anywhere on the map, as long as you can see the damn sentry gun. So I can be standing all the way across Dust Bowl and right-click and teleport the sentry into my hands. Now, when you do that, you are going to be marked for death, but it's a huge upside. That's not even really a downside to me, in my opinion, because you can get your sentry gun out of so much trouble. If you see somebody coming around the corner, if you know the thing's gonna die, you can teleport it to you and run backwards back to the next point or back to the next checkpoint for the payload cart. It is unbelievable. It does take 130 metal to do that, but my goodness gracious, that is one of the coolest things I've ever seen in this game. So yes, I'm gonna say absolutely go try this and go put it on. And the downsides, the real downsides of this item are lower clip size and lower maximum ammo capacity. Like, who cares? Like, this thing is ridiculous. Go put it on. So that is going to wrap up this video, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And stay tuned for the Man vs. Machine counterpart of this update little series on Smissmas 2012 coming in the next couple of days. So, see you guys all soon. And, of course, take care, everybody. Have fun with the new weapons.